actual implementation or ground reality circuit. Another thing, many a times we want to test for certain circuits how they will perform in the long run. So we want to carry out a run of the circuit for say 10 hours or 20 hours and then see what will be the effect on the parameters, how will it degrade. In that case, it is not really possible. Sometimes we want to do it fast. We don't want to waste all that time of 10 hours or maybe sometimes even 24 hours or a week or a month. We don't want to test it like this. We want to do an accelerated testing of the circuit. In that case, if we know that after an hour the resistances will rise to this particular level and the temperature of the circuit is going to rise to this particular level, if we have a simulation type of exercise, we can do it in minutes. We can immediately change the particular parameters of temperature and resistance and all those, and then test what would be the performance after 10 hours or 24 hours of run, or maybe even after a month of run or a year of run. So that type of accelerated testing and accelerated aging of the circuits can be studied when we use PSpice simulations. Moreover, PSpice simulations can also be linked with multisim software. Multisim software gives us two facilities. On one hand, it allows us to connect with the PCB making facilities, all the PCB making environments. For example, the most popular ones, maybe which are freely downloadable, Tina and all those, where you can directly trace the PCB, you can design the PCB, and you can go for actual fabrication of the PCB through the designs that are generated by them. On the other hand, PSpice is also capable of being connected to hardware. So there is an multi-board type of hardware device available which can be coupled with multisim, which can be then uh, is used easily. Moreover, PSpice also has interoperability. Interoperability means many softwares can connect with PSpice, and it is a pleasure to tell you that many other EDS tools have PSpice concepts running in the background. This was the first one which came where we could pick and place the objects. Initially, when we started working with PSpice some 30 years back, it was a program where we had to give commands in order to generate elements, right? I will show you an example of that also. But nowadays, PSpice is totally, it is totally visual. You can have a GUI type of experience there. You can pick and place the objects, and you can even take the commands for running and debugging in the form of buttons. So that is the level it has come forward, from being a totally uh, script based design software to the pick and place based design software. Now, it was developed at University of California, Berkeley, and therefore it is very, very friendly for the students because it has been primarily designed by the teachers and research scholars. So all the basic work of development have been done keeping in mind the capabilities of students and how it should be user friendly for the students. And so there are no unnecessary hang-ons like in certain software they are made user friendly to the extent that they can be used by a layman, and therefore they become cumbersome for the engineers. And on the other hand, uh, sometimes there is a problem that when we have um, a software which is designed totally for engineers, it becomes very difficult for the students. So they need specialized training programs for being able to run those software. PSpice has the advantage that it is user friendly for engineering students. So there are no useless hang-ons. A person who is familiar with the working of computer can easily move over to the PSpice, and those who are familiar with C, C++ or Java can move on to design their own elements also. So you can expand the current library of the components and elements. You can define your own elements and then define the parameters which you are interested in, and append them to the system. So that kind of flexibility and adaptability it has. Now, PSpice is the PC version of Spice software. It is a standalone version, as I've already told you. It is freely downloadable. The free version contains almost all the things that are there in the paid or premium version. The only thing is the number of nodes that can be handled at a time, and accuracy of resolution, say for thermal analysis and all such things, is a bit limited. For the sake of learning and for familiarization and for simple research work, simple designing, it is the downloadable version is quite suitable. And this they have made available free because it was funded by United States public funds, and it was realized that there should be no charges for use of this software for study and academic purpose. Although for commercial purpose, the software goes right up to the commercial purpose, and that for commercial purposes, they do charge some nominal fee, which is very less as compared to the commercial softwares like MATLAB, which come at a very premium rate, and MATLAB and ANSYS and all those software. So here, let us look at the other version of PSpice. It is HSpice. HSpice is a version that runs on workstations and larger computers. HSpice has been designed for parallel and distributed computing, and it allows large projects to be created simultaneously by many people who are co-working in a team. So distributed computing and the parallel computing concepts have been integrated into HSpice. It is a premium version, and it is particularly for the um, commercial work, techno-commercial work. Now, simulation of circuits permits exploration of designs without physically building them, as I've already told you. So, therefore, PSpice allows us to check all types of performances within a few minutes. So, right from the steady state analysis to transient analysis to frequency analysis to Fourier analysis, all these facilities are available in the PSpice to so that we are able to test all these parameters of the designed circuit without actually having to go in the lab and make setups for all these. So that is also a great advantage. It has meters, it has visualization devices, it has the breakout points through which we can measure, and there are also possibilities of using all different types of sources. Now, when we talk about sources, we can start with the DC source, we can start with the switch DC source, that is the step function. You can also apply the alternating functions like sinusoidal, square wave, triangular wave, or the sawtooth wave. You can also apply some user-defined waves. You suppose you want multi-stepped square wave, you can define it and then use it. You can play with the amplitudes of the waves. You can play with the frequencies of the waves. You can also have particular pulse based design. So pulse based testing also is possible. PRBT testing also is possible. Then the transistor sizes, they range from microprocessors to the simple transistor to an or even the diodes are available. The basic circuit elements, resistance, capacitance, inductance, of course, are available, and the op-amp range is available. All FETs, JFETs, I'm going to have a slide on that. So we can model right from individual transistor level to the integrated circuit level. So you can even embed a microprocessor. Suppose you are using PIC16, pick it up and place it inside the circuit. You just have to do it and then connect its pins in the manner in which it is required. Now, this is an outcome of another project, which was known as Computer Analysis of Nonlinear Circuits Excluding Radiation. Here, I would like to tell you that when we go for switch DC or even step function analysis of a given circuit, which is very, very common, switch DC or step function is one and the same thing. This is a nonlinear analysis. This is not linear analysis, right? And therefore, cancer focused on nonlinear circuits. The moment you have a software, if the moment you have uh, 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 solid state device in the circuit, any PN junction or its combination, the system will become nonlinear, right? And PSpice is able to produce the responses of nonlinear circuits to a reasonable level, right? So next, in the PSpice has analog and digital libraries of standard components. Um, so I have told about the analog ones, and the NAND, NOR, flip-flops, digital gates, they are also there. And as I've already told you, right up to microprocessors, there are devices available. So this is the spectrum of PSpice, and people tend to look down a bit on PSpice nowadays with the availability of all or most of the facilities of PSpice in MATLAB also. MATLAB earlier used to be a system focusing on mathematics and block diagram based design. Now it has introduced circuit components also from the last 7 or 8 years. They have come to component level. But I should tell you that component level design is not possible in MATLAB. And moreover, the analysis of rise of temperature, the analysis for short circuit, open circuit, etc., are not separately available as tools in MATLAB. Right. So now let us come to look at the types of analysis that are there. As I've already told you, it's DC analysis, which is nonlinear because it's a switch DC, which is not a linear waveform, right? And then nonlinear transient analysis also, because transient analysis means we are looking for the time when a circuit is switched on to the time when the circuit attains the steady state. So that is transient analysis, and that also uses principles of nonlinearity. And moreover, the moment we use any semiconductor device, we need nonlinear analysis. And therefore, I have made it a point to mention here that it is nonlinear DC analysis and nonlinear transient analysis, right? Because it can be used for all semiconductor devices, not only for RLNC. Then, of course, linear AC analysis is there. It means the AC analysis is restricted to linear circuits, or it has to be done for a part of the for the linear part separately and non-linear part separately. Then the noise analysis facility is there. You can introduce a spectrum of noise, various kinds of noise can be selected, added to the system, and analysis can be done. Similarly, sensitivity analysis, which is very unique to the software, is also there. It means you can check out what will be the change in response when one particular parameter is changing by certain percentage. Say you can even draw the complete plot where you can change the sensitivity levels, or you can say that if one particular parameter has a change of 10% or 5%, you can define like this, and then the analysis can be done easily for all the possible sensitive elements. You can have them one by one, and you can plot them on the same plots and compare them and do a lot of work there. We tried it out for the sensitivity analysis due to heat generation, right? Then distortion analysis is also there. So if there is a waveform which is input and the output waveform across the elements, because nonlinear elements are there, the output waveform may not be exact replica of the input waveform. In such cases, we need a distortion analysis. We need to calculate the harmonic distortion that takes place in the system. Fourier analysis, we all know, when we have a non-sinusoidal periodic waveform, so we can construct it using the AC source that is available in the system. We can design the waveform there. And once we have designed the waveform, the analysis requires Fourier analysis, which will find out the Fourier series equivalent of the non-sinusoidal system, and then using the various components of the Fourier series, it will evaluate the response and finally reconstruct the overall response by superimposing the various partial responses for individual elements of the series. So that is also a very important analysis which is directly available here. Those of you who have solved numericals on Fourier analysis know how difficult it is. And along with Fourier analysis of a non-sinusoidal periodic waveform, we also have the facility of Fourier integral based analysis. So as I've already told you, pulse testing is also possible. So if you have a non-repeating pulse where you will require Fourier integral based analysis, that also is possible in this software. We come to the last part, Monte Carlo based analysis. This is available in the premium versions, and for some circuits, only for the, it is not available for the solid state devices. Uh, it is available for the RLC network here, the freely downloadable version. Monte Carlo analysis is basically stochastic signal analysis. There is, if you have randomness in the system, like if you want to give a pseudo random periodic wave as the input, you can go for Monte Carlo analysis. It is an event based analysis. Like Fourier analysis is frequency spectrum, Monte Carlo analysis will go for time slicing. And the new premium versions of PSpice, as I was searching out, I have found that they also include wavelet analysis, which allows for frequency and time to be dealt with simultaneously, right? So you can see that this software, although it's low key, because it is freely available, so people tend to a bit overlook its capabilities. People do not go to full depth of the types of analysis which is available in PSpice. So all of you, I look forward that some of you may try out things and interact with me later on. Now let us look at the spectrum of circuit components which are available in PSpice. The first thing that we will require is independent and dependent voltage and current sources. All of you know there are independent voltage and current sources. There are time dependent voltage and current sources like the sine wave. And there are dependent voltage and current sources. The dependent voltage source may be current dependent voltage source or voltage dependent voltage source. And similarly, the dependent current source may be current dependent current source or a voltage dependent voltage source. Sorry, voltage dependent current source. So all the four categories are available directly for use. Similarly, all the independent sources are available. As I've already told you, all the waveforms can be all the standard waveforms can be directly used, and all the user-defined waveforms can also be simulated. So you can see the wide spectrum. You can even have pseudo-random pulse-based analysis. So pseudo-random pulses can also be constructed. So all these are available. Then, of course, the standard components, resistors, capacitors, inductors, mutual inductors, transmission line models are available. You can couple them together to construct big transmission lines. Operational amplifiers, as I've already told you, operational amplifiers are basically analog computers. They can add, subtract, integrate, differentiate, and do a lot of other things. They are all the active filters use operational amplifiers, and all the instrumentation systems primarily use operational amplifiers for analog handling of the signals. Then all the switches are available. You also have relays available. Then diodes, BJTs, MOSFETs, MOSFETs होना चाहिए, JFET, MOS transistors, digital gates, anything you think of, right up to from digital gates, right up to microprocessors, microcontrollers, they are readily available in the premium version. And the latest ones are also available. We even have IoT components available in the premium version. So that means the communication systems are there in the system. They can be integrated with cloud also. Now, there are two important terms that I want you to understand here. A sub-circuit. A sub-circuit allows you to define a collection of elements. Therefore, design in PSpice can be hierarchical. You can define your own subcircuits. For example, so I can use RLNC and create a series or parallel network, and then call it parallel network and integrate it with the available library, or create a separate user-defined library. And in that, I can put this component there, and it becomes an RLC component, right? Similarly, I can design, say, if I design a simple, say, induction motor, I can place the equivalent circuit of the induction motor, construct it using inductors, resistances, and the sources. Once we have done it, I can define complete induction motor circuit as a sub-circuit, and then place it in the library. In future, if I want to build something, I can directly call that function, right? So that is the facility which is available for simple small circuits. For the session itself, it is available in the free version also. For that particular session, it will be available, but once you log out, it will go away. So in the premier version, it is available for all times to come. Right? This concept allows hierarchy in building up the networks. So very complex networks can be hierarchically built up. The component level circuits can be saved as sub circuit, and then sub circuits can be connected together to form another higher level sub circuit. Those sub circuits can be further connected. So, like for example, if you are doing the modeling of um, a PV for solar photovoltaic power plant, what will you require? You will need the photovoltaic system along with the inverter. You will need power conditioning unit. You will also need the load representation unit so that you can model the entire system. If it is grid integrated, you will need the integration devices. So for each of these blocks, you can create a sub-circuit. Now let us go inside the PV system. So the PV system can be modeled as a combination of PV arrays, and those arrays from modules can be modeled from the PV cells. So up to cell level, from we can go in this form of representation. So this type of system can be developed by using simple system of PSpice. Now, the another important thing that is to understand is EDIF, the Electronic Device Interchange Format. PSpice gives interoperability with other simulation softwares through this. That is, once you have created something, you can create an EDF file. This EDF file is based on a standard published by EIA. And this format is called as netlist. So when you will start working with PSpice, you will find that you can design a circuit and create a netlist for it. Once the netlist is there, that netlist can be picked up in any other software like Multisim, or even the other software where microprocessor based design is done. There also the IDE can directly respond to the PSpice netlist. Uh, I hope I'm clear till this point. Any doubts in this point in the basic information about the software capabilities? If anybody has any doubts, any questions, you can ask me. Raksha ma'am, there is no question, I think, in the chat box.
Yes, ma'am.
Is there any question in the chat box?
Ma'am.
Okay. Thank you. So now we can go further. With this concept of what the software has and what are its capabilities, let us go to the actual way that this will work. Now, the input file for PSpice has the file type .cir. So whatever you will save in the schematics will have .sch, and from .sch the circuit file will be created .cir. .cir file will allow you to go for the simulation. So the primary file that allows for simulation is .cir file, right? And when the CIR file will be simulated, then by running the software, we will get .out. .out creation shows that the circuit has been successfully simulated and there were no hassles in the running of the circuit, right? Now, if you want to get the output in the form of a, say, suppose you want to get an Excel sheet, you want to send the data to an Excel sheet, you have to interlink it with .dat file. So the simulation output can be saved in .dat file, right? It's by default it is a binary file, and you can connect it to get it in the XLS form. Then library files are there where all the complex parts are pre-saved. There is a very strong user library directly available for downloading, and users can define their own library and integrate it because it allows for open source working. Users can find out their own designs. They can save the subcircuits in the library file for availability for future use. Then three more files are to be understood. One is .sch. .sch file is the file which is primarily created by the drawing of the circuit on the schematics window. When we open the PSpice software, again, because it has come from that end, it gives us both the opportunities. We can directly code the circuit file if we are familiar with the coding process. So we can directly write down the .cir file as used to be done in the older versions, say some 20-25 years back. But if you are not familiar with that type of programming, you can go directly to the schematics window and pick and place components there and connect them together. Once we pick and place components and connect them, .sch file is created, which can be then compiled and done to
इनकम टैक्स का आपके यहाँ था क्या वो आपके आपके पास है मैं तो ढूंढ ढूंढ के परेशान हो गया
गाड़ी में. तो .sch file, sorry, I was a bit diverted for the time being. .sch file is created from the schematic data. And once .sch file is created, when we compile it, we can generate the circuit file or the net file. .net is again the netlist file, which I told you is necessary for the interchange of information, for giving interoperability, and .NET file is also necessary for creating the simulations. Now, the advantage of .NET file is that once that has been created, it shows that our schematic is correct. So when the .NET file is created, we can be sure that the drawing part is correct. Then when we compile it further, circuit file is created, it means it is correct from the fundamental laws of circuit point of view. Alias file is also created because there may be multiple copies of resistances, multiple copies of uh, other values, other components which are used in one particular circuit. So you can design a circuit consisting of, say, 7 resistances, 5 inductors, some say 10 capacitors. You may have 5 DC sources or 2 AC sources. Such a complex network is possible to design, but then you have to keep a track of how many copies of what element are available in that particular design. So for that, .als file is used. So it is automatically generated if we draw the schematic and then move over to run and to compile and then run the software. So it will automatically go in a step-by-step fashion. Now let us see what are the libraries that are available. Now, libraries are files that contain the representation of the circuit elements, and in the jargon of PSpice they call it reusable part data. So part data, we call them parts. So every circuit element is considered to be a part, and therefore a part data that is required to be there when we simulate a given circuit and will be connected together in by generating the netlist. When we generate the netlist and go to the circuit file part, then that entire part data is brought from the library and embedded in our program. So the code that is generated at the backend will automatically bring that part data and embed it. So we don't have to bother about all this. So we just have to in the modern type of software, you just have to pick and place, connect them together. If it is correctly placed, it will go, help you to compile and simulate automatically. If there are any errors, they will come in the error window. You will be able to understand that there are errors in the system. Messages will come to you. You can rectify the error. So very user friendly software is there. You only just have to understand what do the errors signify. So there is a standard language of errors. I would not go into the details, and as and when you go on receiving such error messages, you should go to the PSpice help and see what the error connotes. For example, many times what happens, we construct a circuit where uh, the loop may be completed through an inductor. It will not permit. PSpice will give you an error saying that the loop contains only the inductor, because whenever this happens, if you subject the system to any sort of output which has a any sort of input which has a DC component. So even if it is a non-sinusoidal waveform, what will happen? There will be a DC component in the Fourier series, and immediately the circuit would fail because the inductor behaves like a short circuit for DC. So PSpice will give you an error saying that there is an inductive loop in the circuit. It will not allow you to simulate it. It will give you the error message. Similarly, now let us look at the some of the libraries which are directly available and may be useful for a new comer in the field. So ABM.SLB, SLB stands for PSpice, for the Spice library. It allows use for special functions like square root, multiplier, etc. So you can use any special function. There are many special functions. If you want to use them, you can get elements in the because if you are not able to see it directly in the window, then you will be required to search for the part. That search is available on the toolbox. And then if you are not able to remember the name of that particular part by which it is available in PSpice, you need to go to the libraries. So you can go to the library and go, once you open the library, it will show all the parts that are available inside the library. And from there we can pick and place. So analog.slb for analog components, breakout.slb for measurement points. So breakout.slb is it is for points basically. Then connect.slb or PLB for connectors. You can have different types of connectors. Uh, so you PSpice also allows for pipeline type of connectors also, right? Not only for simple state connectors like wires. Sometimes we need a bus. So if you are doing microprocessor based design, you need, suppose you are looking at the port output. Now port contains 8 pins normally. So though all those 8 pins can be formed in the form of a bus, right? Then we have eval.slb for semiconductor digital devices and switches. We have port.slbs for grounds and high low digital ports. So you can design various types of ports here. And special.slb for the measurement devices like ammeters, voltmeters, viewpoints. Viewpoint is a point you can place where you can go for the measurement, right? So special.slb is the library where you'll find all these. You then source.slb for the inputs, for all types of inputs that can be given to the system, ranging from DC to variable frequency to variable amplitude, sinusoidals, and so on. So in this way, all types of sources, as already discussed, can be available here. Now, as I've already told you, part means a basic building block. So any object in PSpice is known as a part. So any physical element can be represented as a part. Any function like multiplier or maybe square root or adder can be represented as a part. A simulation model can also be described as a part. So once you have simulated a particular circuit, maybe say a filter has been simulated, that simulation model can be designed, can be declared as a part. Now, once you have declared it as a part, it can become the basic block of another circuit. So that is how hierarchy can be inbuilt into PSpice. So this gives us a lot of ease of working and saving of repetitive work. When a part is placed for the first time, its entry is done in design cache. Now, this is something advanced level. So design cache will be useful for those who are going into in-depth design and reusing and building hierarchical models. If you are doing a simple circuit analysis, you don't need to go for this. So those of you who are interested can go and find it out yourself. Now let us look at the design structure of PSpice. Am I clear till this point? Any doubt?
Yes, ma'am, I believe there is no doubt.
Yes. So now let us begin with a small. How much time do I have, Iraksha, now?
Ma'am, probably by 12:30 you have time, by till 12:30.
Okay, okay. So I think another half an hour. So I can take up one example and then show you some of the objects that we give to our students. So the flat design part. This is the basic design. As I've already told you, there is hierarchical design and a flat design. Hierarchical means you are going to design sub-circuits and parts and use them in a bigger design. In the flat design, it is a single page design where all the elements are at the same level, right? But it can be those multiple pages can be coupled together. So that part where all the elements are used at the primary level, they are called as flat designs. So for small designs, and when all the pages are in the same schematic, it doesn't mean that you have to draw everything on paper. You can have multiple pages. The design can be spread over multiple pages, and output of one page can go to the next page and so on. So that is possible, right? So off-page connectors are used to couple different pages. So you can have to and from. So on a page, you can have from, where it will bring in data from the previous page, and you can have to, where it will send in the data to the next page. But they are all at the same level, right? Here you can see how they are saved. For example, here in the figure, you can see that schematic 1 has been created. In this schematic 1 has 2 pages, right? So the 2 pages will be coupled together, and this will become a part of the design cache. So now you can understand here itself, it is giving you an idea that it is very simple to make them useful as a useful resource for group working or for your own working on different projects. Suppose, like I gave you the example of RLC circuit, if you push something that you have designed here to the design cache, you can use them across your projects. For different projects, you can use the same thing that you have created. Now the hierarchical. Hierarchical design, I hope the complete diagram is visible. It is not getting cut off.
Yes, ma'am, it's visible.
So the hierarchical design will have something like this. Here, the schematic A is the top design, which is the highest level of abstraction. Schematic D, E, and F are basically flat designs. So they are individual projects which are flat designs, which are at the so D is one defined subcircuit. E and F all are defined subcircuits, which may be flat designs. Then by coupling, say E and F are coupled together to form the schematic C. In the schematic C, there are two parts. So we just have to now treat E and F as parts which can be used in C. And then further, when we look at A, it is using C and B as well. So this is a 3-layer design. So multiple layers can be used like this, right? So earlier it used to be 32 level design, which was possible. And for some time, I haven't tried out how many levels of design are there. Maybe it must have increased by now. So this was a few years back that when I tried out how many levels of design are possible. Now that there are youngsters working in my team, so I I have not tried out for quite some years, but earlier it was 32 level. So PSpice, we are going to start with one example of PSpice. The PSpice, okay, is not case sensitive. So small r and capital R means one and the same thing. So you cannot, while designing, you have to be careful about naming the components, right? But you have to use different names for different components. So suppose there are two 10-ohm resistances in the same circuit, you are not allowed to call each of them R. You have to give them two different names, R1 and R2. And later on, you can say R1 is same as R2, no problem. You can design R1 and then copy and place the same R1 as R2. But this has to be done. And the coordination that R1 and R2 are one and the same, that will be carried out by PSpice in its alias file. We have already seen it. So that part has to be taken care of, that all element names must be unique. If you use the same name across two elements, it will not be compiled properly, and it will be very difficult to even find out this, because no message comes like that. it just keeps on saying Elias problem, and you will find it very difficult to find out what has happened. So while placing the components, automatically also it places a new name whenever we copy and place the component, and whenever we place parts on the schematic, it gives a new name to every placement. But if you copy a part designed by you, there is a chance that the same name may come. And moreover, sometimes people tend to think that like in our hand design circuits, हम जब copy में बनाते हैं तो हम क्या करते हैं, जो same है सबको एक ही नाम दे दिया, R. So if you do like that, there will be a problem. This is one of the primary mistakes which is made by most of the students when they begin the design. Then as I've already told you, कभी कभी लोग capital R और small r use कर लेते हैं. PSpice के लिए वो दोनों same है. The moment you try to compile, it will say there is a problem of alias. Then there must be remember, there must be a node designated by 0. This is one important factor. This is a very common mistake. We tend to label the nodes by 1, 2, 3, 4, etc. हम भूल जाते हैं कि एक जीरो नोड या रेफरेंस नोड जरूरी है. Once we designate a node by 0, it will become the reference node for all the circuit measurements and simulations. If any change is made in circuit, make sure you create the netlist again before simulating it. What do? When our circuit is working fine, now we want to see what will happen if I change the load resistance, if I change the component by a different component, then I want to see what is the output. But many a times we forget to generate the netlist again, right? So there is a requirement of compiling every time when you make a change. So this is one basic important requirement. So these are the things to remember. With this caution, if we will start, we will make fewer mistakes. If we do not recompile it, what will happen? The netlist will not change, and although we have made the change in the circuit, the results will be same as before, and we will feel as if the change of element has not affected the performance of the circuit, whereas it may have, because the circuit will actually be simulated only by the netlist and not by the diagram that you have created in schematics. Okay. Now let us see how it can be started. This is how when we enter into the PSpice, once you download the PSpice and put it in the system, you can integrate it with your Windows software and begin with file. So file, then new, and then you can give a project name. You can design a new project and begin with the type of classification that is possible. So it allows you to choose as totally analog circuits or digital circuit or mixed analog digital. So mixed analog digital circuit can be easily created. So here you can see, you can select the type of design that you are going to. Can you see my pointer?
Yes, ma'am, it's visible.
Okay. Thank you. So the design analog or mixed design is the type where we can select the project type. And then you already also have PC board wizard. I have told you that right up to the creation of the printed circuit board, it can go. So PC board wizard is there. You can also go for programmable logic wizard. So programmable logic wizard allows you to go for multiple simulations at the same time, for particularly for the logic design circuit. So something, those of you who are familiar with VHDL also can make direct connection with what this is going to do. So the programmable logic wizard gives you the inputs, the digital inputs for a variety of uh, pins simultaneously. Then the schematics, right? So this is the spectrum through which you can start. So one of these can be selected, it's a toggle switch. So one of these can be selected and you can begin with the working. Now, sometimes we want to create something which has if we want to revise something which has already been created, so create based on an existing project. So if you've already created something, want to start working on it again, this option is there. And if you are working for the first time, you will go for create a blank project, right? So in the beginning, you have to go for creating a blank project, and then a schematics window will open. This is the look of the schematics window. I hope it is visible. It is just like a normal window, but it is totally it has ruling on both x and y direction, so that each part that you place has a unique topographical location on the window. So the part will be identified by its location, and then later on, when you uh, design sub-circuits, by clubbing the parts together and saving them, it will properly be able to save the entire topology of the circuit that you have created, right? Okay, so once we have opened the blank screen, now uh, here you can there are dots available for seeing where we can place the parts. You can even go for grid type of view, where grid is also available. Either a grid view can be opened, or simple dots may be there where parts will be placed. These will help us to keep our drawing neat and clean. Then you can see a toolbar will become available immediately. We will go into the details. We will begin with search for a part. Place a part option will be picked up uh, from the system. So we will add the libraries as per requirement. There is a window showing the library where we are working. So look at this. Here we are showing the analog library. So once we pick up analog library, all the components in the analog library will appear in the window here. For example, you can see ePoly. ePoly is a voltage source which can have a designed waveform. So polynomial type of waveform can be there, right? And similarly, we have GH. These are dependence. EF, GH are four types of dependent sources: the voltage source, the current source, which are voltage dependent or current dependent. So EFGH are all dependent sources which are available. And then we have the other components which are available here. K linear stands for the standard pot, because in the pot what happens, the input is multiplied by a constant K and delivered as the output. So you can have you can define the factor K. So if you want half of the input voltage as the output voltage, it means a pot which is stationed at the midpoint. You can just put K equal to 50%. And similarly, you will be able to connect with the names very easily. So once you open the analog library, the names are self-explanatory, and you can also, if you download the help file also, you can see the function of each of these. So by default, the help file will not download. If you download the free version, the help file does not download automatically. You will have to make an effort to download it and then integrate it in the same folder as the folder in which you have placed your PSpice software. Then this will connect automatically. Then part search is directly available also. If you know the name of the part, suppose I know that my part name is ePoly, I can just place the ePoly part in the part window here, and without bothering in which library it is available, I can directly go for part search, right? Then of course you can see the options for adding libraries and removing libraries. You can speed up your project by making a separate library for it. Suppose you want only a small set of elements to be used, you can speed up by creating a separate library which will include only those libraries which will be useful for this project. In that case, there will be time saving of searching apart all over the available libraries. You can imagine there are thousands of components directly available for use by the user. And if you want to search a particular part, then it takes time, right? This is also useful for interoperability. If you are sending your design to some other software, it is advisable to keep your library limited. Then after completing the circuit, you just have to design the circuit by picking and place. There is a tool for wire. If you open the option for design, edit option for design option, there you will find that wires are also directly available. You can use those wires and connect. Right. There is annotation window also available where you can write down the name of the circuit, your own name and everything. So annotation is also possible, and you can also put the names visible for your PCB and all further work that you will do. If you want to make your part names visible there, for example, R1, R2 should be visible in the PCB design also. There also annotation tool helps you. So after completing the first circuit, you may not go for a very difficult circuit. A simple RLC network or a simple combination of resistances can be done. Then we can plot the particular waveform. Now let us go to a simple design example of a high pass filter. So the first part would be to open a project and then open a file. I have already shown you how. Quickly let us revise. So go for the file option, create new, then project, and then select analog, then go for create a blank project, then open the schematics window. Why do we call it a project? Because every schematics that we create will have its associated netlist also, it will have its circuit file also, it will have its output file, the .dat file, and required for simulation, the alias file also. So every circuit that we create becomes a project in itself. And you can have a big project also, which will include many circuits. Okay. Now the waveforms can be plotted by using the system. Now this is the uh, ORCAD based PSpice software. ORCAD also supply. ORCAD is the company which supplies the PSpice. So now you can see the ORCAD capture is the name to the schematics. If you download the free version, sometimes it is directly called as schematics only. The ORCAD capture may not be visible. And even ORCAD, from the ORCAD website, if you download it, it will become ORCAD capture. Now you can see there are C1 and R1, two elements that I have selected from the part window. Now this is the part window. I know that it is R or C. I can directly type R or C here and select from here. Otherwise, I can open this window by using this drop down arrow and reach that particular option that I had already shown you for placing part. Now you can see that once we have done this, you can you can connect all the. If you want to rotate the element, for example, automatically it will come like this in the vertical plane. I want to rotate it and put it like this. You can select the element and just press Ctrl R. It will rotate. Control C, Control V also. The basic DOS based commands are also working here. Sorry, the basic commands of copying and placing also work here. So once a particular element is selected, you can copy it, paste it, you can rotate it. Control R allows you to rotate this. Otherwise, in the edit option also, you will find the rotation and all those options available. You can select the element and then go to the edit option, right? Then after placing the part, you will wire them. There is an option for wiring available. Wires are automatically straightened out. You just have to click one end of one element and the second end of the second element while dragging the wire. You don't have to bother about whether it is a straight line. Remember, there is a set of tools here. Can you see the set of tools on this side? These are drawing tools. These are not the circuit tools. if you are doing some work here, many of these are basically just drawing tools for annotation. So if you think that you select a line from here and connect it, that will not be a wire. It will be just a line. So you have to understand the difference between a wire and a line. And then there is this triangular button which is available. Once you have completed the circuit, saved it, you can go for compilation using this triangular button. It will, if it compiles successfully, it will change to green and you will be able to run it. So this is the basic architecture. You can see voltmeters and ammeters can be directly connected by just pressing the particular element here. So in this case, you can see voltmeter has been selected, it has been pressed. That means all the voltages at various points of the network, at various nodes of the network, will be shown directly. You don't have to put elements there and do something. If you press I also, then the current in all the branches of the network will be shown directly. You don't have to put them. If you want to put the voltmeter at a particular point, this is the element that you have to use. I'm not interested in all the voltages. I'm interested on only one voltage. This is the element. There is a facility for differential element also, which you can see here. It will have 2 points, plus and minus. The difference of voltage between these 2 points will be indicated, right? So differential element is also available. Differential voltage plus V and minus V, right? So these are the basic tools. Otherwise, the basic file tools like save, like open are already available. So with this basic knowledge, you can begin with the work. Now, by selecting part V AC, we are able to get an AC source. Basically, it allows you to have some offset also. A shifted AC source can also be there. So you can see the VDC part also here. One VAC means it has been set to the value 1 here, and the DC part has been set to 0. Once this is done, the next part is to connect the circuit using wires. So I've told you, from the from this menu you will have to place the wire in the circuit and connect it. Once we have connected it, remember to connect the ground also. V ground is also necessary. Every circuit needs to be grounded in order that we can work properly with it. It can be properly simulated. Right. Now when V is pressed, you can see V option is pressed here. Automatically it is showing how much voltage is there in both the uh, on both the nodes. So there are two nodes in the circuit, one at the junction of the source and the capacitor, other at the junction of the capacitor and the resistor. Here you can see the voltages are automatically indicated. If I press I also, the current will also be indicated. And as I have told you, you can add probes to the network. These are the viewpoints. Probes are basically viewpoints. Wherever you put them, they will show the voltage of that particular point. And if you have a differential probe, plus minus, it will show the difference of voltage between these 2 points. So in this example, they have been connected to the positive of the source, positive side of the source in the first half cycle. This positive indicates that in the first half cycle, the current will leave from this. And if you place this other probe over here, it will show you the difference of voltage here. That means it will show you the voltage across the capacitor. Now, a new simulation profile can be created by giving a particular name, right? So a new simulation profile, or once you have created the circuit, you can in this case, you can just use this triangular button over here for running. It will automatically create the system. But if you want to save the results in a new simulation profile, you can do it by using this option. So from the PSpice option, you can see the PSpice option here. There are certain PSpice functions which are available for use from this toolbar. So from this point, you can go forward. Now, for AC analysis, we will have to set up a particular analysis. This analysis is known as AC sweep or noise analysis. Noise analysis also is coupled under the same thing. Now, AC sweep. Sweep stands for the x-axis. Actually, sweep analysis means we are going to get a plot as output, right? So in the case of filter, we need a frequency response analysis. And therefore, AC sweep means the frequency of the waveform, the frequency of the AC source that we are using, VAC we had seen that we have connected to the circuit, that will be changed over the entire range. Now, if you want to have some small type of range of inputs, you can use a linear sweep analysis. But if we want the entire spectrum, for example, say from 1 hertz to 10 megahertz, then this scale should be logarithmic in nature. All of you know that whenever we go for the frequency domain analysis, we normally use a log scale for the frequency. Here we have, once we select logarithmic or linear, it will ask for the starting frequency through which the sweep has to start and the ending frequency up to which it has to go. Then it is also asking you the points per decade. In the case of linear, it will simply ask for points that between the beginning and the end, how many points should be placed. In the case of logarithmic scale, in every decade, you must have used semi-log graph paper, all of you. The semi-log graph paper has an x-axis, which is logarithmic. It means it increases by powers of 10. So if you start by 1, the next, there will be a decade, the next marking will be at 10, the next marking to this will be at 100. So it will increase by powers of decade. Whereas if you use a simple linear type of sweep, in that case, the x-axis will be linear. Y-axis in both the cases is always linear. So in that case, it will increase by units. So from 1, it will go to 2 to 3 to 4 and so on, right? So here this is there. If you change the number of points here, what will happen? Resolution of the curve will be affected. If you place 100 points in every decade, it will be a smooth curve like this. If you place lesser number of points, it will be somewhat piecewise linear. So this is the general. Now you can see here we have the options that are available. AC sweep analysis is being done here. The general settings are being used. The other, as I have told you, stochastic type of analysis using Monte Carlo or the worst case scenario where it was going to behave in the worst fashion. Then parametric sweep can be done here. Parametric sweep means rather than the voltage source which is sweeping, we have one particular element which can be swept. So if we want to keep the frequency constant, if we want to change the uh, capacitance or inductance, and then see what is the effect of the response on the circuit, it will be a parametric sweep. Then temperature sweep, if you, I have already mentioned in the beginning that if the temperature of the circuit is rising due to heat dissipation, what will be the effect on the parameters, that can also be analyzed here. Then save bias points and load bias points. So if you want to bias your circuit, you want to set certain operating points of your circuit, you can save them. And if you have previously saved your bias points, you can load them from here. So if it is a mixed, if there is a biasing circuit in your design, that can also be saved here for all. But if you save it here for all the future analysis, you may change the other parameters, but this will remain the same. And if you want to change the bias point, change it and then load it again, you can do the bias point analysis also. To see the amount of flexibility that this software offers. Then of course the run button, go to PSpice and run. A window will open where you can see the waveform. Here you can see the AC sweep analysis. I hope it is visible. This is one hertz, then 10 hertz. You can see equally spaced decades. 10 hertz, then 100 hertz, then 1K, and 10K, and so on up to 10 mega that we have selected. And you can see that points are placed over here. And the plot is complete. It will keep a track of current simulation. If there are any errors, I had told you that errors will come, error information will come in the windows. So if there are any such problems, they will automatically be taken care of. You will get messages which are interpretable, and if you find that you cannot make a sense of it, it will be good to go for. It will be good to go for help file and search for the meaning of that particular error message. Right? Thank you. So this is the important part of analysis. Once you begin to understand error messages, you will begin to learn very fast, right? Because everybody is bound to make errors in the beginning. But you should understand the error message. And if you find that certain error message you are unable to understand properly from what is given in the PSpice documentation, just pick it up and Google it. You will get many advantages. And you can go to ORCAD website also. The ORCAD website is very, very supportive. You can put in your problems there in the system, and then you can get your answers. Now see, this is the response that we have got. There were 2 points where we were viewing, one at the second end of R2. See the nomenclature? V at the second end of R2, and V, the voltage V2. See, everyone has to have a different name. So here, it's since a voltage measurement device is being taken, so V, and within brackets you can see exact nomenclature. So this forms the unique nomenclature for a particular voltage. And the second V, V2, it is at the source positive end. So you can see at the source positive end, it is flat 1 volt, which is available throughout the frequency range. But at the output of the filter, you have created a simple RC filter. At the output of the filter, you can see that there is this type of waveform available. It is a simple high pass filter which cuts in at some 3 dB कहाँ आ जाएगा इसका वो देखना पड़ेगा. तो 3 dB 1 volt के लिए तो somewhere here you can imagine. So it cuts in at this particular point. You can do the design part and verify where does it cut in. Now once you are in this window, you can click at a particular point. At that particular point it will show you the parameters. यहाँ पर जैसे ही हम क्लिक करेंगे वो शो करेगा कि यहाँ पर वैल्यूज क्या है, फ्रीक्वेंसी एज वेल एज द वोल्टेज. यू कैन टेक logarithmic scale here also. So instead of values of voltage directly, you can have dBs here. So you can define the dBs, you can define the gain of the circuit, or maybe if you are interested in attenuation, then you can define attenuation. So what will we do here? We will go here, click on this scale. Once we click on this scale, a window will open, and in that window, we are able to put in our mathematical expressions also. I've told you there is an ALB file, the ALB library. From there, we can pick up that we want on this scale log of V1 upon V2. It becomes attenuation, right? Colors are chosen automatically. Here it is red for the it's green for the first one, red for the blue, red for the other one. If you want to change this, you can click on this. The plot attributes will open, and you can change the background, you can change the look of your figure very easily. All editing is possible here, right? I have shown you the primary plot which comes automatically. So did you enjoy your learning? Because I am almost running out of time. So if there is anything else you want to discuss, we will do that. Otherwise I will just show you the type of experiments that you can do. Yes, Raksha, do we have any questions in the chat box?
Yes, no, we don't have any questions.
No questions?
No.
Okay.
I would request the participant if they have any question, you can please ask those questions now.
Yes, you can unmute your mic and then give me a feedback also, or you can do some analysis. Uh,
No, ma'am, I believe there is no questions from the participant side.
Are they there or they have left?
They are there.
So anything? Uh,
Hello, ma'am. Good afternoon.
Hello.
This is Arnab Datta. Actually, I want to know the what is the benefit about your multi-sim, whatever we are using in LabVIEW over
Mhm.
your this software, PSpice.
First thing is LabVIEW is very costly, so not affordable by the students. This is readily available for the students to download and use. And another thing, the backend support is also there. You can go to the website and then put in your questions there. They can get the support from there. So that
Okay,
is
but
one very big advantage. LabVIEW is very, very costly. You need to have lakhs of rupees in order to own a LabVIEW.
yeah, every institute should have their license, na, for
No,
LabVIEW. Yeah.
no, every institute has it. But the
No.
students, if they want to play at their homes, if they want to do
No,
something
no,